Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another transformative episode of Mind Over Habit podcast, the show where we explore the habit, mindset, and strategy that help people overcome challenges, unlock their potential, and create a meaningful life. Today, we are diving into a topic that affects every area of our life: leadership, communication, and ability to remain calm and effective under pressure. Whether you are leading a company, managing a team, building a business, or simply trying to navigate relationship more effectively, today's conversation will provide you valuable insight you can apply immediately. Our guest is someone who combines decades of legal expertise, executive coaching, leadership development, negotiation experience, and meaningful practices into one powerful framework for personal and professional success. Stay tuned because this conversation is packed with practical wisdom you won't want to miss out. My guest today is Arlene N. Miller, an AV Preeminent Rated Attorney, International Coaching Federation Professional Certified Coach, Leadership Consultant, Meditation Facilitator, and founder of Jewel Consultancy. For years, Helen has helped Anthony's executives, business leaders, and professionals strengthen their communication, negotiation, and leadership skills while cultivating inner steadiness and emotional resilience. Her uniqueness approach blends legal expertise, executive coaching, emotional intelligence, and mindfulness to help individuals lead with confidence, communicate with clarity, and navigate high pressure situations without losing themselves in the process. Harlan's mission is simple yet powerful, helping people become excellent leaders by first learning how to lead themselves. Harlan, welcome to Mind Over Habits.
And thank you for having me. I'm very grateful to be here.
So, Harlan, is there anything I'm missing in the introduction part that you want to cover in few minutes? You can do that.
Well, you gave me a nice introduction, but yeah, I'm more of a leadership coach than an executive coach, but kind of a leadership and harmony coach, teaching people how to lead themselves, lead groups, but still bring harmony and balance into their lives. And I'm also an AV rated attorney. I'm no longer practicing law. I've had two successful law practices that I've sold both. And I really enjoy at this point just working with groups of people. Most of the time, a lot of the time it's attorneys because that's my area of expertise, helping them to learn how to have that executive presence, how to have that active listening, and so that they can help to mentor and support, the people that are coming behind them and also not burn out in their jobs in the process. But what I share really applies to everybody, whether it's in your personal or your professional life.
Okay. So, Helen, you often talk about self-leadership as the foundation of effective leadership. So, what exactly is self-leadership and why is it so important today?
Well, it's really important today because there's a lot of divisive things going on where it's us versus them, and the presence that we hold is everything. So if someone comes, we're having a conversation with us, whether it's personally or professionally, and they're more of in the attack mode or to prove us wrong or to cut us down, something like that. If we can hold that executive presence, it's really like coming from a really grounded, fully present, I am here kind of space where we're not shrinking or contracting, we're just expanding out and being our best selves. What we can do is, and what I teach people to do, and what a lot of people already know how to do, but they forget when they're attacked or when they're facing circumstances like this, is that we respond, we don't react. If we don't react to how other people are attacking us or bullying us or trying to get us to stand down from our position or whatever, there's nothing that they can bounce off of. If we really just respond, if you've noticed leaders that just respond from a really calm, low voice and they don't buy into whatever the attack energy is or whatever the confrontational energy is, there's no place for it to go. So one of the first things we need to know is that, or and to remember, is that it's not about me. That's their stuff. And I can really come from that calm, quiet, professional, grounded space, no matter what they throw at me. And sometimes we just have to walk away, but most of the time it'll bring down the energy of the person in the room because there's nothing to bounce off of. There's nothing to work with that can get into some sort of kind of confrontational fighting kind of situation.
Okay, so many people are experts in their profession, but struggle when they move into leadership roles. Why is being great at your job different from being great as a leader?
I think they both go together. I think they're a nice little marriage. How can you be great as a leader if if you don't really know what you're doing in work? It's important to have an area of expertise that you're working from, but we don't have to know everything. We're always evolving and learning and growing. So one of the mistakes that people make is that they think that in order to be an excellent leader, they can't make mistakes. They have to know everything. And nothing can be further from the truth because even if we really are well versed in our area of expertise or our job or whatever it is, we're going to make mistakes. Nobody's perfect. And if we're a good leader, if we're an excellent leader, we're always evolving and growing. And if someone shares something with us where they know something more than us, we acknowledge them, we recognize them, we thank them for their contribution, and we don't make any qualms that we have to be perfect or to know everything. So I think that takes a tremendous amount of stress off of people. You want to be prepared, you want to do your best, but there's no such thing as being perfect and just being open and grateful to if we have a lot of expertise in an area that we can always evolve and grow.
All right, you have decades of experience in negotiation and communication. What are the three practical keys to becoming a better communicator?
Well, one of the first things we have to learn how to do that I wasn't taught in law school until I went to coaching school is we have to learn how to listen. Because most of the people that we talk with or that we communicate with, I know that I had never had this experience before, that just to be listened to, just to be heard and understood without being interrupted or told what to do or bring the conversation back to me and make it all about me and want to shove my opinion down your throat. Active listening, really listening to what someone is saying and sharing with me, or you do it for you, and using their keywords or phrases so that they feel heard, they feel understood, and from there maybe we can ask some questions. But it's really important to step back and to know how to listen because some people need to talk and talk a lot because that's how they express themselves. They need to speak in order to get their point across. It's to be patient with people and to allow them to share and to really listen and be fully present with them because people can feel when you're not. And that's the first thing that we can do to be an effective leader. Good leaders are good listeners.
Right. Looking at today's workplace, misunderstanding happen frequently, right? I said, looking at today's workplace, misunderstanding. So, how can
Yeah, it
people
can. It
resolve?
can. Well, what happens oftentimes is that we have different communication styles or different vocabularies that we use or different accents that we have. And so if there is a misunderstanding, we just say, hey, I think there's a misunderstanding here. I thought you said this and I was responding to this. Could you clarify for me what you really wanted to know or what you were trying to share with me? In other words, we're not some know-it-all standing there that we have to know everything or be perfect. And if there's a misunderstanding, we find a way to have clarity. And to admit, I must have misunderstood you because I can see from the look on your face or how you're responding to me that I must have missed something. I'm really sorry. Could you maybe step back and explain yourself in a different way so I get where you're coming from and what you're trying to share with me? Because then we're being vulnerable, we're being honest, we're not standing on some big high platform over here and looking down on somebody. We genuinely want to understand them, and if there's been a misunderstanding, we'd like to correct it. So we give them the opportunity to have it to communicate with us in a way that we can both understand.
What role does emotional intelligence play in leadership success?
Well, emotional intelligence is about being really strong in ourselves. It's being, calm and collected and fully present and, with ourselves, and knowing that we have it within ourselves to stay steady and calm no matter what's going on. And so it's also having the ability to really talk out and have a conversation with someone and come to a new knowing. And that's what we do as coaches. Someone comes to us with a problem and they think they can't solve it, but by asking them powerful questions and having the conversation roll, and sharing with them what we're observing about how they share with us, and maybe something that they missed, then they can come to a new knowing within themselves. And so what we're doing is we're bringing that gift to other people by the powerful questions we ask, by the active listening, by sharing what we're observing, and allowing a conversation to evolve and grow, and never ever thinking that we have all the answers, because we certainly do not.
All right, Helena. Many professionals struggles with imposter syndrome. So why does it happen, and how can people overcome it?
Well, you sent me this question in advance, and I really thought about it for a while, and I really feel that the why question doesn't help. Why don't I have confidence? Why do I have imposter syndrome? Anyone who's feeling that lack of confidence, knowing why is not going to change anything. It could be something where we wrote a great report when we were in elementary school and someone cut us down and said it was stupid. It could be anything that happened to us somewhere along the line that shot down our confidence somewhere, and we have never let it go. But what we can do is we can find ways to build our self-esteem and our confidence stepping forward, even if we're already an expert in our field, but these feelings still come up. It's perfectly normal. So one of the things we can do is maybe join a mastermind group, or we can have a mentor who can help us move through it, or we can have an accountability buddy who's in the same organization, and we practice our presentations and what we're going to share and what we're learning and how we're growing together. So we find ways to build ourselves up so that when we come to these situations, we have more tools, more skills, more ways of handling ourselves, so that we can get the ball rolling, and then we feel like, okay, I haven't died yet. I'm still standing. And we slowly build our confidence and self-esteem. But the first thing we really need to do is to stop judging ourselves. We have these feelings. Maybe they're not rational because we really are an expert in our field, and we're going to find a way to take one step at a time so that they don't drag us down.
Looking at your work, I I found out that you often emphasize executive presence. What does executive presence really mean beyond appearance and confidence?
Yeah, executive presence is not, for me, it's not just like in my head, it's like something that I feel. And there's some really basic exercises that I can share with your audience that helps you, because what you have with someone that's holding executive presence is that you're really grounded and fully present here now with somebody. You're not thinking about something else. You're not worrying about this. You're right there with your group, your audience, or whoever you're communicating with, or just yourself. And one of the ways that I feel that is like, you know how a tree is really grounded with its roots way into the heart of the planet. We can feel that as well. Like we have roots of light that go into the heart of the planet, and we're fully present here now. And we notice, do I feel lack of confidence? Do I feel nervous or something where I'm like all contracted? We just sort of visualize ourselves being much bigger and expanding out so that we are able to handle anything that we can. So a lot of it's mental and emotional, and not just, what people see. We have to really feel in our hearts that I'm fully present here now, and I'm prepared. I did the best I could to prepare, and I'm going to do my best, because people can feel that. People can feel if you're not telling them the truth. People can feel if you don't really know your topic. And again, we don't have to be perfect, but it's the presence that we hold where people go, wow, that person is really steady. They're really grounded. They're really here. They're really listening to other people. It's not all about them. They're not some head on a stick. They really care, and they're here to serve. And people can feel that. And so those are the skills that we can develop. Some people develop it by going to Toastmasters. Some people develop it by going to church. It's really your own deal of where you can develop those skills so that you have those feelings within yourself, or you can feel those feelings before you step into a room.
A lot of people find it difficult to set our boundaries. How can someone establish healthy boundaries without feeling guilt?
Well, that's a great question, because I didn't know about boundaries until I was like middle age. And because I was always making the mistake, I'm pretty like a very open person, but we set our boundaries. We're not taught how to properly set our boundaries. I set my boundaries, for example, if I'm having a conversation with you, by how you are, not how I am. Because maybe I come into this conversation, I'm all excited and happy, and then you have to deal with your internet or something, or you've had, I'm just using you as an example. You've had a spat with your partner or something, and you're trying to be good, but you're not. So my boundaries are set, how strong they are or how loose they are, about how the other person or group is that I'm dealing with. And I know that it can vary from moment to moment. I could be out to lunch and having a lovely waiter, and all of a sudden they get a text on their cell phone, and they get upset. So the boundaries have to be flexible and adaptable, and how strong they are based upon how the other person is or how the group is. And you just have to, that's how I set them. And but to always have some clear, strong, and appropriate boundaries there. This is what I will tolerate. This is what I won't. This is what I'm looking for. This is the presence that I'm going to hold. And I also feel that our boundaries can be set by the behavior and the presence that we model for other people. If people feel like they can trust us and they feel calm around us, they're going to start modeling that behavior back to us as
All
well.
right. Okay. Thank you for that wonderful response. So, if I may ask, when tensions are high and emotions are running strong, so how can leaders remain calm and make wise decisions?
Well, the first thing, I think I covered it a little bit, but I think that it takes a while to really for this to sink in, because some people just love to have a fight. I don't know. Some people just do. That's how they I don't know, they get their endorphins. And the thing we need to remember is, just because they have their boxing gloves on doesn't mean we have to box back. If we come back with that clear, calm, steady, lower voice kind of thing, and we're not allowing them to push our buttons or to get riled, it's going to have nowhere to go. Even if you're dealing with the whole group, you can still hold that presence and be really calm no matter what other people are doing. And you can also call people on their stuff. You've asked me this question, and now you're interrupting me. So if you'll give me a moment to answer that, that would be the correct thing to do. And then go and slowly answer the question, so that you give the energy of the room or the person or the whole group the opportunity to calm down. because one person can wind everybody up. But if we don't play that game, there's nowhere for it to go.
All right. So, what are some common mistakes people make during difficult conversation?
Well, I think that the mistake, whether it's a difficult or just a regular conversation, is something I mentioned before, is don't put the stress on yourself that you have to be perfect. That's not possible. If you don't know an answer to the question, say, I really appreciate your question. I don't know the whole answer to this question. Let me get your information and I will get back to you tomorrow, the day after tomorrow, whatever it is. But I don't want to answer in a way that's not a full and complete answer. I don't know everything. I need to check with a couple of my friends who specialize this, or check out this article, and then I'll get back to you. And, the other thing is that we just need to be patient with ourselves, and it's okay to be vulnerable. It's okay to admit that, maybe in the course of a conversation that I made a mistake, or someone knows more than me, and thank you for sharing that, which I've already mentioned before. So it's being humble. People that really think they're way up above everybody else, they're just going to fall off that pedestal. If we know that we don't know all the answers, we might know a lot about our field of expertise, but we certainly don't know everything. And we're grateful if someone has something that they can add to the palette of what we're talking about, and we thank them. And we're not like, we're better than you. It goes a long way. And that eases a lot of tensions, and that harmonizes a lot of situations.
All right. So, as meditation facilitator, what simple mindfulness practice can listeners start using immediately to reduce stress and anxieties?
Okay, I'll give you two things that you can do to calm down, because what happens is that we want to take ourselves out of fight or flight mode into rest and relax mode. So notice if you're getting upset or uptight. Most people will breathe really shallow up here, so your body's not getting oxygen, and maybe you'll even be holding your breath. So an easy practice that you can engage in, no one even has to know, is breathing in through our nose, breathing out through our nose, and making sure that the out breath is longer than the in breath. And so we just sort of breathe in for 3, breathe out for 6, and we can be listening to somebody. We can be standing in line at some store and just calming our nervous system down. And we can even maybe say an affirmation to ourselves. I am calm and stable and able to handle anything life presents, or whatever your affirmation is while you are breathing. So our self-talk is very, very important. If we're all wound up and we really are honest, the way we're talking to ourselves is probably not helping the situation. Like, oh, I don't know if I can do this, and blah, blah, blah. Calm down. I can handle this situation. I prepared. I am aware of what's going on. I don't have to be perfect. I will be calm. I will be grateful. I will do my best. That's the best I can do. Practice that breathing. Maybe ask someone a question. Let them do all the talking. Practice the breathing. Feel yourself calming down, and life will go on. Even if you feel a little bit stressed, you're going to find that you are better able to handle what life presents if you treat yourself the way you would treat somebody that was a good friend of yours that came to you acting or feeling like you are feeling.
How can professionals maintain inner peace while dealing with demanding careers and responsibilities?
That's $1 million question, isn't it? Because so many people feel really, really stressed out in their jobs at work. I think a lot more pressure is being put on people nowadays, especially since in order to survive, most people need to have both partners working, or two-income families, or you can't survive. So it's really important not to be turned on all the time and always working, or always worrying about your work. You have to have mechanisms in place that allow you to relax and enjoy life. And so, yes, we're in stressful situations. Yes, we might feel really wound up. It can be simple. For me, sometimes I like to watch like America's Got Talent, some of their best videos, because I love to watch all the singers. Or I'll go outside and walk, or I have a yoga practice. Find out things that you need, that you can do for you, that calm you down, that give you that peace, that maybe you'll just have a good laugh with some friends. Or there's a couple of comedians out there that always make me laugh, that helps to dissolve stress. We have to have things in place that help us to dissipate stress while still doing the best we can with what we need to do. And another thing we can do, there's this great book by a guy by the name of Brian Tracy, and it's called Eat That Frog. It's a really thin little book, but basically the message is that you eat the biggest, hairiest, ugliest frog at the beginning of the day, meaning what you absolutely have to get done that you'd love to procrastinate and not do, you get that done first. And then everything else is icing on the cake. It takes away a lot of the stress. And so I guess that's what I would share.
All right. So, what advice will you give to leaders who want to build stronger trust within their teams?
Well, to be a strong actor, I think it's that no person is an island. It's nice to have a group. We're much better together than trying to know everything by ourselves, and we can have different areas of expertise where we can work together. And really, everything that I've shared today, to study and know our stuff, it takes a while to do that, to be open to other people and learning and growing from them. I mean, maybe we have a colleague that is in our same field, but we don't know what they do. They don't know what we do. So we go out to lunch once a week and we talk about what we do. So we're supporting each other and expanding both of our knowledges. So there's everything I already shared today, plus not to find ways to always learn and grow within our field. And if we don't know the answer, maybe someone else in the room does. I'm not really sure. That's a little bit out of my regular area of expertise. Who in this room, that's more of your area of expertise, and you have something that you could share with this question. There's nothing wrong with that. And people really respect that. They respect that we're open. The person that gets to speak, they're going to love you. The other people in the room, they're going to love you because they're going to get a really good answer. And that takes the stress off of you and gives credit to other people. So it's a win-win.
For someone for someone listening today who feels overwhelmed, stuck, and uncertain about their next step, what do you want to tell them?
That we don't have to know everything at once. I think we really get stressed out because we think that I'm here, but I should be way over there. But if we just take one step at a time and breathe and integrate and actualize that step and acknowledge ourselves for it, and then take another small step. And if it doesn't feel right, we learn from it and we grow from it and we take another step, and then acknowledge at the end of the day all the steps that we did take and what we did do, instead of berating ourselves and beating ourselves up because we're not further along somewhere. By the end of the year, we're going to be a very different person. So it's giving ourselves some grace and finding ways that we can learn and evolve and grow one small step at a time every day without putting all of that pressure on ourselves.
So, how can my listener connect with you?
You can find me at my website, which is Jewel, Jewel Consultancy, CONSULTANCY.com. And there's my contact information. There's a huge blog. There's some videos on there as well. And you can either email me or text me or call me from that phone number. And I'm also on WhatsApp if you're out of the country with the same phone number. And that's how you can get a hold of me. And my name is Arlene Cohen Miller, which is right there. And I think I'm the only one on the planet. Most people don't have three names like that. So if you Google that, I will come up.
All right. Thank you, Helen. Everyone, same thing again. So everyone listening, if this conversation inspired you, please share it with someone who could benefit from it. Don't forget to subscribe, leave a review, and follow the Mind Over Habit podcast for more conversation designed to help you grow personally and professionally. You can learn more about Helen Cohen Miller and her work at www.jewelconsultancy.com. Until next time, remember, your habit shaped your future, your mindset shaped your habit, and your leadership begins within. I am Moses, and this has been the Mind Over Habit podcast. See you in the next episode.